Hello and welcome to Alli Talks, where Alli talks. Um, Today I want to talk about taking action on our visions. I feel like a lot of spirituality is embodiment and taking actions from an embodied place. But something I've seen a lot of is this complacency in a way. Like even if you have the awareness that you want things to change, I've seen a lot of people that either don't feel like they are able to make a change or that are choosing stillness. And even choosing stillness is a good action, but I feel like the planet and the human collective is calling more of us forward in this period of time. And I feel like embodying our highest self and taking creative action as our highest self is what is going to really propel humanity forward. Sometimes the actions we are called to take are things that feel uncomfortable in the sense that it might not make logistic sense. Sometimes it's the silly, simple things that really make a big difference. When it comes to humanity being in a higher state of being, generally speaking, something that this requires is community. And we might be spiritual in our homes or whatnot, or we might be embodying wisdom or truth in ourselves. But I feel like we as a collective are able to do more currently with the circumstances we are given. I live in the city, and in the city there's public transit, and there are all different types of people on public transit, and I see some people with maybe a higher understanding scared to speak to those that may not have that high of an understanding. And I think it is important for us to surround ourselves with more of what we want, if that makes sense. Even in our friendships, it's important that we surround ourselves with people we can learn from. But I feel like, you know, the universe is a universe. God is within all, and like there's divinity in everybody, and everybody has wisdom for us to learn from. And so maybe like speaking to the homeless guy from this place with boundaries, of course. Like boundaries are very important in this journey, especially when it comes to community. But I feel like I see a lot of people like ignoring each other. And it's like the businessman might look down on the homeless man for being homeless, but the homeless guy might look down on the businessman for being a businessman. And so it's like taking actions that bring us outside of the illusion of difference and taking action on the truth of our shared divinity and wisdom and humanity is really going to help people grow. And this is also just like if you're in a more creative community where you might even feel intimidated by the people you're surrounded by, just like understanding that the olive branches you extend will create long-term abundance not only for you in this lifetime but also for generations to come. And sitting with the feelings that arise and then validating them and acknowledging them as you move forward into your power will help you be less scared of your power. It's like sometimes the reason we're scared to step into our power is because the feelings can be really intense, especially for spiritual leaders and overall empathetic people. But it is through this intensity that fire can burn. Okay? Like fire, we're going through kind of a intense, not an intense, well, we are kind of going through an intense time in the collective, but we don't have to identify with the intensity. We can see it for what it is and use it to fuel humanity's path forward. And throughout the journey, we can acknowledge the love that we are able to share with each other and that we are able to hold for ourselves as we take action on community. And I feel like community is important because if we were all united under genuine wisdom, genuine love, and grounded in aligned action, I'm sure we could save the world in like 3 days. Okay? It's like, so I feel like community is a lot more important than we've been giving it credit. And I feel like it's important to see that our differences can sometimes be our strengths. And that through love, we are able to see ourselves and others more clearly and see our strengths and weaknesses more clearly and hold ourselves and others more accountable. Like, I know people that have chosen to be homeless because they want freedom from the system. And I feel like that kind of bravery to not completely conform should be acknowledged. And I feel like it should be used for the betterment of society. Maybe not in the exact way that it is currently being used, but I do feel like there's timber for the fire to be burnt there, right? That can keep all of us warm. And I feel like throughout history, we have seen, jeez, throughout history, we have seen um, time and time again that our differences do not define us. And that regardless of our race, and regardless of where we come from, we are all part of the human race. And our differences are beautiful as well, you know? And we can work together to use our differences for the betterment of everybody. And yeah, and I feel like something that should be acknowledged is the innocence that people hold. Although there is definitely accountability to be had in everybody's role in the current state of the world, I feel like there is an air of innocence in a lot of people. Like shared purity and shared innocence. Like this shared kind of basic want of love and warmth and like food. Like, you know, like it's like the reason why a trillionaire would like hoard money instead of giving it to others is essentially because of some sort of survival tactic, you know? And it's not, they should be held accountable. They should be still giving out the money in a way, and they should be investing it wisely, and like we should not be hoarding that much money ever, really. But on the flip side of that, there is also a root of an unhealed basic need. And I feel like love is a lot more powerful than we give it credit for. Because if all those millionaires and trillionaires really felt loved, I feel like they would want to share it. I could be wrong, but you know, I don't think so. I feel like if they genuinely felt fulfilled with what they currently had, they would be using their resources vastly different. And I don't feel like I don't feel like love is something that is prioritized nearly enough in politics, in education, right? Because it's like, if you look at people who feel loved and that feel provided for, they're able to learn better, they're able to learn more, and they're also able to teach more and teach others and teach themselves, you know? And you watching this, whoever you are, you have the power to love. And I'm not talking about the rose-colored glasses kind of love where you don't hold others accountable and you don't hold yourself accountable. I'm talking about the love that accepts others for who they are in their totality. And acceptance. Acceptance is a radical force. And acceptance is not equal to complacency. Just because, like, let's say I have this phone right here, okay? And let's say I wanted to do work on it. I wanted to fix it. In order to fix it, I would have to first accept what is there completely. And I have to be like, okay, this part of the circuit's broken, but this side of the circuit works still. There'd have to be a form of acceptance, but that doesn't mean I'm going to leave the phone the way it is. It just means I'm accepting what's already there so that I can move forward in a wise way that is educated. And it's the same way with others. It's the same way with people. I have shadows. I have darkness. I have ignorances. Everybody does. That's part of living in this plane, is not knowing everything. Temporarily, in a way, you know? And so, when we accept the psychological, spiritual, and physical state that we are currently in and that others are currently in, we're able to more clearly see what kind of resources we can give, what kind of resources we can build, and what kind of action can be taken practically. But if we just keep denying and building towards a river of denial, okay? Because if you look at some of the different things that are being built, some of them, sure, they're radical, and sure, they can help us leave the current system. I feel like there's power in using the current system for a better future instead of completely, like, I don't feel like we're meant to leave the matrix. I feel like we're meant to use the matrix to build a harmonious plane of existence. And we can start off by talking to each other and communicating with each other as human beings, regardless of societal standards that exist. Yeah, that's all. Alli talked today. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of Alli Talks, where I talk about various philosophical, spiritual, and literary topics. Have a good night, day, time.